Welcome to Radiance News Digital. I am Tuba Sanobar and today we explore a significant chapter of India's educational history. One that connects the Mughal era to the foundations of modern higher education. In recent years, public debates about India's past have intensified. But beyond slogans and headlines, what do historical records actually tell us? As scholars revisit archival materials with great care, several documented examples have surfaced that rarely appear in mainstream narratives. One such example concerns the institutional origins of Delhi College. What is widely remembered as a colonial-era institution turns out, on closer examination, to be rooted in a much older educational ecosystem established during the Mughal period. Let us begin. A center of learning before the colonial era. The story begins in 1696 with the establishment of Madrasa Ghaziuddin near Ajmeri Gate in Old Delhi. The madrasa was founded by Ghaziuddin Khan Feroze Jung I, a senior Mughal noble. Like many institutions of its time, it was supported through private endowments rather than direct imperial administration. This form of patronage was common in Mughal India, where members of the ruling elite supported centers of learning as a civic responsibility. Education was viewed as essential to governance, legal administration, and social order. Madrasa Ghaziuddin functioned as a center of higher learning at a time when Delhi served as both an administrative capital and an intellectual hub. What was actually taught? Historical records indicate that Madrasa Ghaziuddin followed a structured and multidisciplinary curriculum. Alongside Islamic studies, students were trained in Persian and Arabic, the principal languages of administration and scholarship. Instruction also included logic, philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy, disciplines required for legal reasoning and governance. Islamic studies did not operate as isolated theology. Core ethical principles, honesty, truthfulness, accountability, and justice formed part of the intellectual framework. It prepared individuals to think critically and administer public affairs, an aspect often overlooked today. The late 18th and early 19th centuries brought major political upheaval to Delhi. With the weakening of Mughal authority and the British takeover in 1803, traditional systems of patronage declined. Many educational institutions suffered disruption. Madrasa Ghaziuddin was no exception. However, the complex was not dismantled. British authorities recognized its strategic location near Ajmeri Gate and its educational potential. Instead of being erased, the site was repurposed. This challenges the assumption that pre-colonial institutions were universally dismissed as obsolete. The Delhi College phase. Adaptation over erasure. In the early decades of the 19th century, the Ajmeri Gate complex began hosting what came to be known as Delhi College. Operating from the same premises, the institution introduced English education and Western scientific disciplines, while drawing upon the existing scholarly environment. This was adaptation, not rupture. Delhi College did not emerge from the rejection of indigenous learning systems, but from their reorganization under new political conditions. Indian scholars continued to play an active role. The institution became a site of intellectual exchange rather than simple replacement. While Delhi College was later relocated to the Kashmiri Gate area, the Ajmeri Gate campus continued as an educational institution. Today, it functions as Zakir Hussain Delhi College, preserving a long academic lineage. When English education was limited to a small elite, translation widened access to modern knowledge. New technical vocabulary was developed. Emerging ideas in science and law could now be discussed in a language familiar to a broader population. Modern education in India did not spread solely through English. It also traveled through Indian languages, mediated by scholars who navigated multiple intellectual traditions, rethinking the role of Muslim institutions. The history of Delhi College complicates the claim that modern education in India began exclusively with colonial intervention. Long before British reforms, Muslim-supported institutions had already established systems of learning that combined ethics, reason, and practical knowledge. This does not deny the influence of colonial reforms. Rather, it highlights continuity, an often overlooked dimension of Indian education history. Education extended beyond religious instruction into administration, law, and science. Why this history is often missing? Over time, complex institutional developments have been reduced to simple binaries: traditional versus modern, religious versus secular. Such simplifications obscure the layered realities of India's past. When Muslim institutions are discussed only in theological terms, their civic and intellectual roles disappear from view. This limits informed historical understanding. The evolution of Delhi College from a Mughal-era madrasa demonstrates that Muslim contributions to India's development were institutional, ethical, and intellectual. Recognizing this history does not require ideological alignment. It requires attention to documented records. History is best approached through evidence, not simplification. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this informative, please like, comment and share so that more people can engage with evidence-based history. And don't forget to subscribe to Radiance News Digital for more in-depth analysis and historical insights.